So, choleric?
You're a cold male. Interesting.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
Is it normal to have like two?
Yes. What's up? Oh my god! You just did that!
Can I ask some?
Yeah.
I've done this thing once, let me just make a phone call and ask. Oh good. Hello, hey. What's my personality type? Sorry? Come on, I'll impress you later. What's my personality? There are two, right? Okay, listen, I have like 5 seconds to answer this question. So, which one is stronger? Choleric? That's the stronger one. The other one? Melancholic. I'll send you some money later. Bye. So, choleric?
You're a cold male. Interesting.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
Is it normal to have like two?
Yes.
I grew up in Denno, by the way. A school called James Gishuru Primary School. It was next to the biggest dump site, I think, in Eastern Central Africa. So I grew up choking under the fumes that were coming from all over Nairobi, plastics, metals, food, clothes, name it. And I remember I used to scavenge a bit sometimes during break time. So that's why I went to school in Dandora, phase 2. That's where we lived. And yeah, from there I went to Kiambu for my high school. I'm not mentioning the name of the school.
Come on.
No, it's just somewhere in Kiambu. Okay. Just somewhere in Kiambu. The rest is just Nairobi. So I've never tarmacked like looking for a job in my entire life. I always say jobs tarmac looking for me.
Hey.
It's just something I always
Sorry.
So I started off at KBC Metro TV. I worked with a producer called Denno. I don't know whether you know him. Well, those of my age group growing up will know. A lot of young people will have no idea that was like our Taylor Perry. Denno was the producer of Tausi, if you know Tausi, Tahamaki, those epic Swahili programs. So I was working with him. I was basically an editor, a video editor, producer, camp reporter. I helped produce Lupita Nyong'o at the time, which was starting out. I used to go through her scripts and go to studio, frame her, so on and so forth. Seeing where she is right now, I don't know whether she'll remember me anyway, but those days used to really like hustle, you know, even getting clothes for her to wear on set. So that's where I started. So from Metro TV, KBC, then I went to TV and Family Media, then left Nairobi, went to Mombasa, working for Baraka FM. So the time I wanted to learn Swahili because my Swahili was so bad. And when I came back to Nairobi, I was supposed to work for radio, what is it called? Radio Maisha. But then the guys eventually hired me for the broadcast division, that's TV. So then that was my first time KTN, and then I'm sure this is all good, right? So KTN, then I went to Radio Africa came to Nation Media Group, was poached by the BBC, went to work in the UK, came back to Nation currently working. Oh, that's a very interesting question. I'm always asked why I left BBC for Nation. Like any journalist, I mean, in your career, you're always thinking of, you know, your trajectory is basically to move from local to international. So why come back to local? It's like a demotion. For me, it was based on a number of things. My conviction, one, I kind of felt I wasn't telling the stories I really wanted to tell, you know, and the BBC was not giving me that platform because it's like a beast and there's so many people and there is no space for you to, you know, tell, you know, the African story the way you want to tell it, to be quite honest. So that was one. Two was family. I mean, the traveling was a bit too much for me. I was not enjoying it, and I just wanted to stay with my family and just be around, you know, just Kenya is a beautiful country, it's a beautiful place to work in anyway. So I was homesick again. So I felt like the platform I was given now here at Nation was giving me that opportunity to really showcase what I can do, my talents and my storytelling capabilities and the ideas. So it was refreshing coming back to do NTV Investigates. Yeah, I didn't get that opportunity while working at the BBC. It was fun, it was a good experience, they taught me a lot. It's a good place, but yeah, that was it. When I started doing these kind of stories, I didn't have an investigative reporter or investigative editor in mind. For me, it was just journalism, it's just telling a story. And I started doing this on radio. The thing is, for radio, my first passion actually is radio. I work for radio, and because radio is like blind media. No one sees you. I mean, you can do so much, and you can be you can be creative and playful with sound, and using sound to tell stories. And so, for me, using radio to tell my stories then was so fascinating because it forced me to be very, very creative. You have to paint these pictures using sound. And so that's why I started in Mombasa. And so gradually I moved to TV, continued doing the same. For me, it's just telling stories.
Yeah.
You may choose to frame it, call it a special report, call it NTV Investigates, call it whatever you want to call it. But for me, it's just what journalists should do. It's moving beyond the headlines and sensationalism and just go dig a story, come out with facts, tell the truth, and yeah, basically that's it.
Yeah.
I did a story where I was seen at Givenchy Gardens and it's Seeds of Sin.
Yeah.
I did it here at Nation, and that's the time when I had this, a priest collar and I stood at Givenchy Gardens. Then I was not really like, no. And I got this interpreter and I was trying to demonstrate something, how easy it is for someone just to walk into a place, wear those clothes and hoodwink people and act like one and even collect an offering. And I did that and prayed for a few people there and it worked. And so that's why people coin this phrase, calling me Bishop. That's why I got it.
So you've never been a preacher?
No, I have.
You have?
Yes, and I still am, yeah. If I share a message of hope with you, the message of love, because the whole thing about Christianity, the whole thing about preaching, what people think of preaching, for me I have a totally different idea. It's just sharing the love of Jesus Christ. I mean, he loved us so much, he died on the cross for all of us, and it's just sharing that love, giving people hope, giving people encouragement, praying together with them, standing with them when they're in trouble and out of trouble and all that. That's preaching. So I can just talk to you and encourage you if you're down. That's preaching, you know. So for me, the term a pastor or preacher doesn't necessarily mean that you have a whole congregation. There's a preacher who I was talking to last week who joked and said, Dennis, I think you're the largest online church because of all your followers on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Put all that together, man, you're the biggest church I think in Kenya. And I was like, oh, I've never thought of it like that. But I use my social media platform sometimes just to share my meditations. I meditate a lot and all that stuff. Yeah. I can't say this comes like right at the top. But the first one was when we went to Somalia, Jubaland, to do a story. And we were coming from a military camp and I was going to interview the president, President Madobe, at State House. And so the routine was, before leaving camp, you have to sign some documents. And then, my cameraman and I, Eric, signed those documents. And then, when we were about to leave, I could see, the soldiers talking to themselves. I could tell there's something going on, they're not telling me. So on our way going, I was in an armored car, and then there were two APCs, armored personnel carriers, in front of me, and two at the back. So we were sandwiched. So we were going slowly, just slowly. And the whole idea is, if there's an ID or a bomb on the road or anything, at least it will get to the first APC or the second. By the time it gets to us, we'll be, safe. But on our way, one of them just whispered to me and told me, Dennis, there's something we found, we're going to show you after you're done with the interview. So I was so nervous, and I I just didn't like the whole idea of, okay, just tell me what it
Yeah.
is. So the entire time I'm interviewing the president, my mind is not even in what I'm asking. I'm just thinking, okay, what is going on? And for me, I knew that soldiers are trained to behave in a certain way, and I could tell they're trying to be calm, but there was something wrong. So eventually, when we were done with our interview, I came out and they drove us to this open field, and they said, yeah, this is what we found on the road. It was actually a bomb. It was an IED. And I was like, so how is it connected to me or to us? And he told me the previous day I was doing a beast to camera and taking the town shots on one of the roads. It's just one road that goes to the camp. And when we got out of our vehicle, they said, Dennis, you have like 10 seconds or 15 seconds to take your quick shot and then let's get out of this place. So that time, I think the Al-Shabaab had seen us, or somebody called them or told them that we were just around, or some journalists are around. And because obviously we were going to use the same road to wherever it is we were going, they planted an IED like I think early in the morning, so that by the time we were passing by, your guess is as good as mine. So what the military did, they were trying to go through the route you're going to use to State House to make sure that everything is okay. That's when they found the IED. So they said, we were waiting for you to come before we detonate this explosive. And when it did, they were like, yeah, you can see how it ripped apart this sack of sand. This would have been you. I was very, very scared. The second one was, I did a story, went to Bonnie Forest. We didn't know how deep we were going because I was meeting our source outside, the town. And we were just going to cover the plight of the officers there and how difficult it is for them to live and work in that kind of environment. And the government basically neglected them. So when we went in, we realized the guy telling us, those CPD telling us, it's too late, you guys can't leave now, you have to stay here. And we told them, well, our plan was meant to stay here, we were supposed to go back. Checking our phones, there's no network. Our smartphones were really not smart. So only the Mulikamuizis were working, and there was only one in that police station, and it was hanging by a thread on some wall. If you touch it, you lose like all your bars. So everybody goes there, you just punch in your number, put it on loudspeaker and talk. I did that story called Surf and Surfer 2. So that night they told us, and I don't know why this OCPD kept, it was like a build-up. It was just scaring us, just giving us one piece of information, another piece of information. It was like a build-up. I slept with my helmet and my flak jacket. I was so scared. I actually recorded a message on my iPhone, and it was a message to my family, telling them if anything happens to me, this is where I am, this is what I came to do, and passed a message to each one of them. And for me, it was like if I die and they, for some reason, find my phone, they will get that message, because the area was surrounded by the Al-Shabaab, and we were supposed to sleep there. So it was the longest night of my life. And early in the morning when we woke up, they were 1 kilometer away from where we were staying. So we woke up early and those people told us, you guys have to leave now, and it was raining. So we left in a half. And it was crazy. It was just crazy. It basically happens like every day. Especially with food. People come to me, ask me, so what do we eat? What can we buy? And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. Because I'm also consuming the same products you're consuming. And the funny thing is, well, I was doing red alert and white alert. Whatever it is I kept finding out stuff, and I kept getting shocked. Like, I use this product in my own house. Like the meat. The night before filming and talking to this guy, I had bought, I will not mention the supermarket, I bought meat I normally stock for 2 weeks or 3 weeks because I love meat. Then the guy is like, and for me when I'm going to buy, I don't like wasting time in the supermarket. So I'm going straight, okay, this looks very, very fresh. I want this one, I want this one. So when the guy was telling me all this, and I'm thinking, I'm going to throw all that meat away. Then part of me saying, you know what, even if you eat this once, you will not really die. Because if you didn't stumble on this information, you'll still have eaten this. So what's the point? But then going home, opening my freezer, my conscience just couldn't allow. I threw all that away. Then we come to white alert. Again, some of the brands that I found out at high levels of aflatoxin are brands that I use in my house as well. So I also get affected by these things, the counterfeits, all these crazy things that I get affected. So the fact that I'm sharing these stories doesn't mean like I have all the knowledge, like I know where to buy oranges and where to buy flour and where to buy meat. It's so tough, it's so difficult.
And have you ever walked into a restaurant or a supermarket and guys look at you like weird? Like the red
I get that like all the time. Apart from the ones that I normally like frequent, I have incidents. Sometimes I don't even notice. It's later on when I'm away from my phone or a book, then I notice something strange is going on here. Like one time I entered this restaurant and I was waiting for someone. It was late at night and I was just buying time. So I was like, okay, let me just buy some juice. I was already full and eating lunch. So I'm like, now, because I can't just enter a restaurant and just, sit there and not buy anything. I'm like, okay, give me like fresh juice. They're like, oh yeah, what else do you want? We can get you cake. We can, like, no, I'm not into cakes really. Like, we have this special one, it's caramel, this and that. I'm like, okay, you know what? Okay, bring this one, bring a piece of this one. So, and I could see from where they're selling the juice, I could see the fresh juice. So it was just like 2-3 minutes. So I stayed on my phone. Then I realized it's nearly 15 minutes. My order's not coming. So I'm thinking, okay, what's going on? Then I'm looking and I'm noticing all the waiters are surrounding this one waiter and they're actually testing. Like there's a glass of juice and they're testing and I could see a guy that looked like a manager, like, how is it? Like, it's good? Like, yeah, it is good. So I'm noticing all these things going on. So later, I asked one of the waiters what was happening. They were like, we had to go get fresh oranges, freshly squeeze the fresh oranges, put ice cubes, crush them, so that we can give you this. I'm like, why? But everybody else drinks this, right? Like, yeah. But why are you giving me this? Like, they didn't give me an answer, but I could basically tell. I think they are thinking maybe I'm investigating them, so they have to give me fresh juice, really fresh. So I get that a lot. I get my table wiped like 3 or 4 times, and each time I'm having a meal, like I'm just digging in like the first bite, and someone is like, is everything okay? How's the food? I'm like, I'm just starting. The food is okay. 5 minutes later, how's the food? Is everything okay? Like I find like it's too much, it's just too much. But yeah, I get that a lot. Yeah. I'm currently watching Better Call Saul.
Okay.
Better Call Saul is basically you've watched Breaking Bad.
Yes.
You remember the lawyer?
Yes.
Saul Goodman?
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying what has a neck but does not have a head.
There you go.
Is there anything like that? Like an animal that has no head? Come on, you guys are not serious. What is, a cable? A tripod stand or something? You said it doesn't have to be an animal, right? I thought of a bottle, seriously.
No, because your thoughts are so interesting.
Why did you say it?
Oh my goodness.
Bottleneck.
No, like seriously? God is my witness. The first thing I thought, a bottle. But then I'm thinking, that clinical thing, maybe that's what
could be a head.
I don't know. Young one of a monkey. It's a monkey. Child, a baby, what? I think it's the flu that's working me up. So, I mean, why am I not getting this?
It's okay.
I told you, I need Google, man, boy. Watch out for these girls. Watch out. That's what I'll tell the 15-year-old me. Just watch out. They're not what they're here to be like, but just watch out. Be very careful.
Yeah.
I love art. You'll be surprised. I can just walk to a place and just a gallery and just look at art, and then 40 minutes I walk away. It is therapy, But I do the 3D art. I've not found anyone who's doing it, but I just decided during the weekends to just spend time in a workshop. Now that coronavirus has been declared by the WHO that it's a pandemic, no hugs, no kisses, no shaking hands. It's a weird one. Because married people have to sleep together now. But my advice would be, this is the time when you can use excuses like sleeping in the living room, watch Netflix because of the virus. Or alternatively, like today we're just thinking, well, if you're working for a company, you know, just walking, sneezing, coughing, yeah, that's it. I mean, you go for how many days leave? No one knows, like 2 months leave. Or if you're arrested by cops, first thing is just sneeze at the guy. Just sneeze, you know. I really want to try that, by the way. My name is Dennis Okari. I'm NTV's Special Projects Editor. You're watching Quickfire Friday.